Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm in the car doing some interior trim upgrades, or at least fixing some stuff here on the Avalon. If you guys have a 4th generation Avalon, you probably have the same issue with the melted cup holders right here, all the trim and everything on this car falling apart. So on today's video, we'll go ahead and take all this apart. I'm actually sandblast it all before I paint it with the trim black and put it all back together to get rid of this chrome. So stay tuned. So inside the car here, if you saw my recent video, I actually showed you guys how to replace the leather on here, the leather on the door panels, with a new one that you buy on Amazon or eBay, and it gets it all nice and clean. The only piece that's missing for Amazon and eBay is the wrap for this cup holder right here, which they don't sell. Some people actually take this apart and just rewrap it with a new vinyl. You'll lose this little stitch and this little line on the side here, but at least it'll be a nice new wrapped piece. What I'm actually doing today is I'm gonna swap out this whole thing because I found a black one in the junkyard. The black one also goes better with this off brown one right here that doesn't match the old brown one, so that's what I'm gonna be swapping out. That one in the junkyard I found also has the same issues with this flaking chrome right here. This flaking chrome is actually dangerous. It actually cuts your fingers. I've cut my finger a few times on this stuff already, so we're gonna go ahead, show you guys how to take all that apart, how to take this whole thing apart. This thing's pretty easy though. You can actually just take it apart, just pulling it straight up right here, and it all comes out in one piece. So that's pretty easy to take this thing apart. To take the cup holder, you just unbolt 9 or 10 bolts on the bottom here and take apart the cup holder and the rings. In addition, this trim up here has been a big pain in the ass. It's actually broke right here. It broke from all the tabs on that spot, and then it started flaking, so I actually peeled some of it so it wouldn't cut me when I actually touched the dash or the vents. So today we'll go ahead and pull this all off too. This thing all snaps off pretty easily. It comes off just like the cup holder. It's just a compression fit in there, and you just pop it right out and it just pulls all out pretty easily. And once we take that off, to take this trim off, you actually have to cut it from the back side because it's actually plastic welded and melted onto here. So what I'm going to actually do is take it all apart. I'm going to try to super glue some of that back so it actually snaps back in, and I'll use some 3M tape behind here too to actually hold it once I put it all back together. So right here we got the piece out of the car, and you can see the black one I found in the junkyard. I already took that thing all apart. So to take the cup holder apart is just a bunch of screws back here that hold the actual cup holder ring on here. Once you take that off, these things just sit in there, and you can see this one, it's off a newer Avalon, but you can see it's already starting to come apart and flake right there for the chrome. So this chrome is kind of garbage on here, so we'll go ahead and just put this in the sandblaster, clean that all up, and then put this piece back into the car after I paint these things a trim black. Take this thing apart, just go ahead and just yank on it, and it just pulls right apart across here. You gotta go actually all the way across, and this whole thing comes apart, including this spot right here. Unplug your hazards and any other cables, and you can just take this whole assembly out. So it's pretty stinking easy. The only thing you got to worry about is right in here, there's like a leather lining right here that attaches to the top of here. You got to snap that out, and once you do that, you can just take the whole piece out. So go over here, pull this thing apart. A little trim popper. Try to pop this thing off the top of here. This all comes apart. So as far as the trim pieces go, the one on this side right here, which is on the left side, comes out pretty easily. There's little tabs all around here that you could just pop off, and it should come right out. On this side, you run into a little bit of issue because they actually melted it on all these little spots along there, along the edge. So that's pretty much the only way you get it out is to drill those little things out or melt it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to drill those out. In order to do that, we want to go ahead and just remove the vents. So the vents have little tabs on the top and the bottom, and it comes apart. You gotta be careful because it might fall apart when you pull it out like that. So we got inside here and you can kind of see where all these little nubs that they melted. It's much easier now. There's 2 screws on either side of these, over here and over here. This side was very easy. It was all little clips and tabs that you just gotta get past that little tooth. But on this side, it's gonna be more difficult. So I'm gonna have to get a drill bit, kind of lightly drill those things out, and then start dropping those things out so I can take the trim off and sandblast it. Once I put it back together, I'll just use some super glue and probably some 3M tape just to hold it on. And pretty much all the pegs broke. This is such poor quality craftsmanship and materials that they use for this piece that it just all snaps off, and it's all pretty bad, especially the chrome and everything on here. So what I'm gonna do is, originally I was thinking about just maybe gluing these back and hoping they hold, but I don't think it's gonna hold. It'll be a fruitless effort. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably just clip all these things off and just use some 3M tape in these little spots right here and hope it holds. So the sandblasting was kind of a pain in the ass because this chrome on here is so thick, but what it does is it loosens up a lot of the areas, and then you could actually just take it out onto the bench and start just peeling this by hand. So once you do that, you could pretty much peel most of it where it starts, and then if you can't get it started, you can put it back in the sandblaster, shoot it and try to peel it a little bit more, and then go back out and peel it by hand just because it's so thick. After hours of peeling this stuff, putting it in the sandblaster, getting everything off, I got pretty much most of the chrome off the surfaces. Especially on these rings, they were a little bit hard to get all the edges, but it doesn't really matter. I only care about the exposed surfaces. So now that I've got it all sandblasted, I'm gonna clean it off with some alcohol. Over here we have some burn spots from the sandblasting that I have to sand with some high grit sandpaper just to get that. But overall, everything's pretty much ready to paint once we clean it all off. Now that we got everything cleaned up, I wiped everything down with isopropyl alcohol just to clean it off, make sure everything's clean and ready for paint. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spray some adhesion promoter right here. Here, the SEM XXX adhesion promoter. After we let that dry after 1 coat or so, or whatever the instructions say, I'm gonna use this regular trim black. It's like a semi-gloss black that's gonna match really well with the black that's already here on the dash. So we let these parts dry overnight after I painted a couple coats of this trim black on them. It turned out pretty nice. Everything is pretty even. As you can see, I did it at night and I couldn't see most of the blank spots, but in the morning I ended up touching some of the other spots that were missing paint and everything. So as you can see right here, before I put it in, you can see that everything matches pretty nicely with the regular black of the dash. So once we put it back in, you can't even tell. It's going to be like one continuous seamless piece now. So as you saw earlier, this piece right here just snaps back in, so we just snap that on. I'm going to snap most of this back on. So all these pieces up here, I'm going to use some 3M emblem tape. Hopefully it all sticks, but you got to make sure you clean everything with some alcohol before you stick it, so that way it ensures that it sticks. So here's a cup holder piece all cleaned up and polished. I'm gonna go ahead and just, these things go on first, and then we just bolt the cup holders on. That's pretty much it for here, and we can snap that back in. Oh yeah, look at that baby, nice and clean now. No more chrome ring in there, no more flaking, and peeling chrome that scratches your fingers and everything. So we'll go ahead and put this piece back in. All right, got that 3M tape peeled right there on the double-sided edge. The top edge here is the most important one because it's not held on by anything. We still have the 2 screws over here, and the bottom is actually held on by those clips and these 2 screws, so the bottom's not going anywhere. So once we put this all back together, this 3M tape should hold pretty good. All right, got it all back on. Hopefully this thing holds. Right now, most of it's being held right here. The rest of these kind of barely touch, but I'm gonna end up having like a phone charger thing right here on the vent. So hopefully that holds it on and keeps that double-sided tape sticking. So I decided to take this center console off too because this stuff right here is starting to melt. What I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna try to clean all this off, maybe get this layer off. Hopefully that works because this stuff, when it gets hot, it's nasty and sticky. And this is the kind of last piece I need to do in the car to get it all cleaned up. This whole console comes off pretty easily. It's all compression fit, it just snaps in. Right under here, there's like a little panel up top here. You pop that panel down, take that out, and then the rest of this thing just pops up. You have to take your shift knob out and actually put it in neutral, and then you could be able to pull this thing all the way out, but it all clips on pretty easily on the underside. No screws, no bolts, nothing, it just all clips. So this thing comes out pretty easily. There's 8 screws on the bottom side here that you just unscrew, and this thing pops off, and the side pieces pop off right here. So I'm gonna try to just clean off this gooey mess. Check out this vinyl or this fake plastic, whatever it is. I ended up peeling that whole side off right there. It comes off just like rubber right off that fabric. Here's all the material that I peeled off. It's just like a rubber coating on here. So I'm gonna just go ahead and try to peel all that off. Eventually I'm gonna actually buy some vinyl or some leather and just wrap these by hand, but they're pretty easy to wrap once you get a pattern off of it by taking this fabric off. Peeled it all. On this one, it was pretty easy. Just kind of grab it in a spot and just start peeling, and it comes off in little strips. So pretty much got it all off. I'm just gonna put this all back together. I'll probably order some vinyl or some leather and just rewrap all this stuff. It's pretty easy once you peel it off. Just peel it off, cut a little template, and then use some 3M 90 glue, and it should stick perfect. All right, we got everything back together. Got the ESR MagSafe charger here holding this thing in. Pretty much normally now, I'm just gonna have this up there. That way it holds it up and it doesn't fall back down, but the double-sided tape should hold for a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't fall. But overall, it's a pretty big pain in the ass to take all that chrome off just to do this trim. But now that I don't have that flaking trim anymore, I should be fine. This thing has very sorry chrome. I fully expect this to eventually bubble up. I can see down here around my shifter when I was taking it apart, it's all starting to bubble right there and peel. So eventually that might peel. But yeah, pretty much all the quality in this car is pretty crap as far as all the materials go. Hey guys, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video on doing the trim repair on the Toyota Avalon. As you can see, it's a big pain in the ass, but it's a very annoying thing on this car when that chrome starts peeling. If you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet to stay on top of all my different DIY videos, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, turn on bell notifications to get notified every time I upload a video. For all these different projects, whether it's on the car, in the garage, on the house, if I can do it, you guys can do it. I want to thank you for watching. I'll talk to you guys next time.